Welcome to a Wiser Retirement podcast. Before we get started with the episode, I want to tell you about a new ebook available on our website called Buyer Beware. Why do they keep trying to sell you that annuity? This ebook covers the various types of annuities, negatives to owning annuities, and better investment alternatives to annuities. To download this ebook, you can click the link in the episode notes or go to wiserinvestor.com and you'll find it at the bottom of the page. Now on to today's episode.
Welcome to a Wiser Retirement Podcast. We believe the best financial advice should always be conflict-free. I'm your host, Casey Smith, and today I'm joined with John and Bev, the retirement travelers. So, hey guys.
Hi.
Hello.
So we are taking a break from talking about, 5 financial myths and all those other fun things. But there is a finance side to this. I think wiser clients have been great savers over the years, but I'm finding that a lot of them are not necessarily living their best lives. And Hadley on our team discovered you guys on YouTube, and she says, hey, we should reach out to them. And you said yes, which was amazing, because I was like, oh, they don't know who we are. They won't do this, but you can reach out to them.
Yeah.
So let me just take a minute. I'm a good talker, so let's take a minute, and I'm going to stop talking and let you guys just kind of introduce yourselves. And I hope that by the end of this podcast that our listeners are booking tickets or buying RVs or doing something to start doing a little bit, maybe not all of what you guys do, but just a little bit.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Subscribing to our
And
channel.
subscribe to our
course.
YouTube channel.
Of course, that's why we're doing this. Get more subscribers.
So,
Go ahead,
well, we have been doing this now for about
John and Bev.
We're John and Bev. I'm sorry. I retired after a 34-year career at age 55 at the end of 2019, and we had planned a retirement. We had saved. We thought we had retirement figured out. We were going to live in a golf community in Florida and do a little traveling, and we were debt free entering retirement. We thought, oh, we've got this thing figured out, and then everything changed.
One day I said to John, because we were talking about how could we go travel more. Well, we were living in kind of Spendyville, in our community was kind of expensive to live there and to travel as much as we wanted. And we could afford one, probably not both, to travel for months at a time. So I said, why don't we sell the house and go travel the world? And he's like, what? We have worked so hard for this. This is our dream home. This is our dream view. This is it. And so we sat down and I figured up how much we're spending per day.
Oh, yeah.
And when we sat down and figured out what our costs were per day, it was like, wow, that's a lot of money to be able to travel with. And so that really kind of did it.
Yeah, that was big. I think financially, we didn't realize, just it sneaks up on you how much you're paying in property taxes and insurance and HOA fees and golf fees and all these little things that are there going to be there for the rest of your life. And, we ran the numbers and it didn't make sense. The other thing we found was, it's nice as you're working for many years, you think, oh, I just want to relax and golf in retirement and not have anything too stressful. But we found that we needed a bigger goal, something, to drive us. We're both very, driven, competitive people, and we wanted to do something bigger.
Yeah. And I had always been a stay-at-home mom while John had a career. We had 5 kids, and, I had kind of given up my dream of, being a creative and doing something creative. I had gone to art school. And so, this was a chance for us to just put that energy into something. It was John saying, let's go for your dream. And my thought was at the time, why don't we blog our way around the world? And John, I thought that was a good outlet for me to give me a chance to write and do all the creative things that I wanted to do. And he said, well, let's start a YouTube channel. How hard can it be? And
Oh.
it really just kind of ate our lunch, but
Yeah.
it's taken a long time to kind of get our bearings and figure it
So
out.
yeah, we do work a lot in retirement now, but we love it. And we love what we're doing, and
And it's the challenge.
It's the challenge, and we're solving we're solving little puzzles all the time. We're learning. We've been to 76 countries, and
Wow.
just we've learned so much about ourselves. It's made our relationship stronger, and we're just having a great time.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I know that so many people sit and they think about things and maybe what they would like to do, but they never take action on it.
Yeah.
I remember my own grandparents always wanted to go to Paris, and finally one day I said, "This is it. We're going to Paris," and just what joy it brought to their lives, even such for a short trip. It just brought so much joy to their lives after that. That's all she talked about.
I mean, those are really special times. And I really think that people forget to, they forget to take care of themselves and to do those things, especially in retirement. At retirement time, you only have a window of so many years that you're really, really healthy.
Yeah.
And then you're going to decline. And, if you don't take advantage of those years and get out there and do what you want to do, I think you're going to have regret. Because when we started off during COVID, we were heading out, and then COVID happened. And at that time we said, okay, let's just pivot and buy an Airstream, and let's just go see all the national parks in the United States.
Yeah.
And so that's what we did for 2 years. But we had people in our neighborhood, and John had retired at 55. So we were there kind of early. The average age in our neighborhood was 70. And so, the thought of us being there for all of those years, playing golf and doing the things we were doing, it just kind of seemed like we had too many years to not go and do. And someone in our neighborhood said to us, I'm glad you're doing this, because we waited too long. Our plan was always to go see the national parks, and we've waited too long, and we can't go now.
Oh, wow.
So, that really hit us and impacted us.
Yeah. You don't appreciate your health enough until you don't have it, and then you can't do things. So we're glad. I mean, we've kind of broken our retirement out into segments. And this is the travel hard, go see, do, hike, all the more physically active, strenuous stuff early on, and get that out of our, and move around a lot.
Yeah.
We travel pretty fast. By the end of next year, we will probably have been to maybe 125 to 130 countries. So we feel like we'll have seen the world, and then we can figure out next steps of what we want to do then. It'll be something at a slower pace, but still traveling and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ironically, I wouldn't say I'm an RV person, but maybe in the right climate, just not in Georgia in the middle of the summer. But ironically, I'm actually in an RV right now, which is so fitting for this podcast. I'm with my daughter in Lexington, Kentucky for one of her horse national championships. And we're living inside an RV for a week. And I already knows, like, how come every time she rolls over on the other side of the camper, the whole other side of the camper shakes? And so I'm already thinking in my head.
Comes and hits you.
We actually traveled out in the Southwest, and it was getting hot. We were in Las Vegas, outside of Las Vegas, because we were going to go to Death Valley, and it was about 110 out. And we could not keep the RV. We would put like aluminum foil in the windows, and it couldn't do it. So we ended up a couple nights spending in a hotel because it was so hot. We had a dog with us, and it was just too much. It was too hot.
We had all kinds of experiences.
You had an Airstream though, right? So that's that probably wasn't super conducive to keeping the heat out either. Although new ones are pretty insulated.
They are insulated, and I think that one of the reasons we went with the Airstream was that John had spent his whole career making aluminum.
Yeah, we actually had made aluminum for for Airstream. So
it was nostalgic.
I'm not sure any camper can handle 110.
That's true. Oh, they're definitely very cool looking. I like aviation, so I like the sleek design of it. And then the interior, I think the international model is the interior is amazing. They put a lot of effort into that. Yeah. So let's. I guess the first question is, you guys have a condo in Florida, is that right?
No.
So where's home? So you sold everything.
We sold our condo furnished, and we gave away all of our stuff. We really just carry a backpack because we don't want to roll suitcases over cobblestones. And as we travel, it's just easier for us to carry a backpack. We advocate packing very light, and that's what we do.
What happened to all your photo albums and all the?
We spent time. Now, this is really an important thing in retirement, and especially when you're first starting to retire. There's this concept called Swedish death cleaning, and what we did was Swedish death cleaning. We went through and prepared our whole life. I mean, you collect so much stuff over the years, especially raising children, and so we went through everything. We divided up I went through boxes and boxes of pictures. I divided them up between the children. I threw away bags of pictures, just stuff that was just trash pictures, and we just downsized everything.
One small box for each child. We digitized stuff. We basically got every possible end of life thing. We worked with an estate attorney. Everything that we needed to do. If we would get hit by a bus tomorrow, our kids it would be very, very simple to handle everything.
A lot of the things that you collect, there were a lot of things that we collected, and I always thought, oh, this daughter will want this, and this daughter will want that, and the son will want this. But when push came to shove, they did not want them. They didn't want that stuff, and they didn't want things that we had in our will for them. Wow. We had picked out things for the kids, and they were like, well, I don't really want it. And luckily they were at a stage in their life where they were, needing furniture and things like that. So as we downsized, they were able to take some of those things. But I think
perfect timing.
I think getting rid of all of our things is the thing that has made our journey so much better, because we don't have to worry about anything.
That was one of the most life-changing things, was getting rid of our stuff, and it's so liberating. We don't think about stuff anymore. We think about experiences and travel, and we don't think about stuff.
So you make this transition, and you have, let's see, you had the house when you did the RV, correct?
Right.
Then you decided
the first year.
Came back. Okay. Let's just get rid of everything.
So we go through this purge process, and then we
had our home in Kentucky, and we were snowbirds for a few years. So we had a home in Kentucky, a home in Florida.
I was still working,
and John was still working. So then we decided, let's just go down to one. So the process of downsizing was over a couple of years of us going from a big house to a condo, then going to nothing. So
now we get to nothing. We're moving around with backpacks and iPads, I assume. And was there ever a point you were like, what did we do?
No, it's never. No, it was not. That has not hit us yet. And people ask us, we did a video called A Life Without Stuff. And several people ask us, well, what are you going to do when you're 80 and you can't travel anymore? Well, we'll figure that out at that time. I mean, what we need now is not the same as what we thought we needed 3 years ago. So we're never going to buy a big house again. Whatever we do, it's going to be something very simple and to meet our needs. And And right now we can't even envision buying a house.
No. We probably won't. Our first, like John said, we're traveling, a lot now, but year probably 8 to 12, at least when we get up to 70, we'll probably go to maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month at a time. Eventually we'll go to 3 months. We call this flex padding. We did a video on it as well, but where you take advantage of a tourist visa in a country, and you just go rent a house for 3 months, and then you go rent a house. One time you're in Tuscany, one time you're in Australia. We can do that for many years. If something happened and we got sick, or one of our kids needed us, we had to go home. We've invested our money for our home. From our home, so that's not getting touched, and we can buy back in at some point. So, yeah.
Well, good. Sounds like you guys thought long and hard about the financial aspects, and you're not just two teenagers backpacking through Europe, staying in hostels. You actually have a written plan, which we fully endorse. Written financial plans.
I think the big thing for us is if we had not been out of debt and had not lived our life of saving and discipline, all of the things that we did over the years to prepare for retirement, I think that's what
this wouldn't be possible.
That's what set us up for this.
We're very big proponents at Wiser on debt-free retirements. I tell people all the time, we lose millions of dollars in assets under management every year to house payoffs, but it's the most joyous process that we get to witness.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of people, that's one of their larger assets.
Right.
That's awesome. And kudos for figuring that out. So now we understand a little about the lifestyle. You're not just crazy people selling all your stuff, standing at the top of the rock.
We're not crazy.
We're a little crazy.
Well, crazy to chase your dreams. I don't know if that's crazy. That's everyone else is just jealous. What are some of your top 5 favorite places you've been to?
Wow. Well, in general, okay, we believe the places that have brought us the most joy are the ones that have been more off the beaten path, less crowded type places. And we just recently did a video on 5 places like that, and we'll just tell you those 5. One of them we just were at, the Faroe Islands.
The Faroe Islands.
It's kind of it's north of Scotland and in between Iceland and Norway. So it was a little chilly and windy, but hope
it wasn't January or February. What time of year were you there?
We were just there a few weeks ago.
Oh wow!
And, unbelievable place of beauty. So that was one of them. What else?
The next one was probably Lake Atitlán in Guatemala. Lake Atitlán is a mile high lake. It is surrounded by maybe 12 or 13 villages. It has 3 volcanoes, but the only way to get around to all of these little villages is by boat. And so when you get there, you arrive at a dock, you get on a water taxi, they take you to your Airbnb or to your hotel, and you stay there. And when you want to catch a water taxi, you just stand there like you're in downtown Manhattan and you wave one down. And it was beautiful. It was
very, and there's a large Mayan population that still lives in that area, and you get to meet local people. It's very interesting. The next one we really liked was it was just kind of an accident. We went to Santorini, and then we ended up going to another island only 40 minutes away called Folegondros. And Santorini is beautiful, but it's crowded. Folegondros, there was very few people there. We had the whole island to ourselves, and we were perched on this cliff about 500 feet above the Aegean Sea, looking out over the cliff. And we would go hiking on the trails and the wildflowers in the spring. It was just a magical week for us there. So
it's just terraced. The whole island is terraced. It was actually an island that was used as a place for exiles from Crete back in the day, like a long time ago. They would send their exiles there. The soil was poor. They couldn't farm very well, but to survive, they built terraces everywhere. So there are hiking trails all over this island, and there's signage to say, you can go here to get there. And it was just beautiful. It was covered in wildflowers while we were there in the spring, and it couldn't have been more of a perfect place.
The next one was the South Island of New Zealand.
Okay.
When you go down to the southern part, there's a place called Milford Sound, which looks a lot like Norway. Giant, big fjords with mountains going straight down in, and the South Island is a special place. We did a road trip there, and the last one is probably her favorite place.
Yes, it is. It is my favorite place. It's it's a group of islands in Indonesia called Raja Ampat, and it is supposedly the #1 place in the world for diving and snorkeling. Wow. To get there was a little hard, and we did a video on how to get there, but we were at a resort that was this private island. It had one other couple was there while we were there, and they served us 3 meals a day. I think we paid $300 a night to stay there. And then they had a diving center where they would take you out to dive. And it was a huge bargain, but underneath the water's edge was just the most incredible fish. Thousands and thousands of fish. They weren't scared of us. They were so colorful, and it's located in what they call the Coral Triangle, which has probably, they believe, about 75% of the world's known coral species are there. So it's colorful, beautiful, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Do you ever wish that you could be in a place longer like that?
Yeah.
Well, and that's what we're planning for future years. As we slow down, we're gathering the places that brought us the most joy, and we'll go back. We'll take grandkids. We're going to evolve to those type of places. So the problem is we have so many of them. I hope we live to 150 because we've got a lot of favorite places.
So, you guys are spending a lot of time together. You're in a hotel room now. Where?
We are in Bergen, Norway.
Okay. So, what's our love language? Is it quality time for both of you? Or is there any point where
we're together 24/7?
Pretty much since the RV trip, where we were in 25 or 250 square feet for a year. When I was working, I was probably gone most of the time during the week and would come home on the weekends because I traveled a lot. And so we weren't together that much. And then once COVID hit, we have been inseparable ever since. And we're still together. So it's working out.
I was wondering if
to have the doors of the Airstream adjusted because they slammed at the time.
I was wondering if Bev was in charge of traveling, if John ever was given his own room.
No, a couple of times maybe. Yeah. No, we're just like everyone else. We have some disagreements, but most of the time we always agree on the important things.
And we've had many, many viewers write to us and tell us that how fortunate we should feel that we're aligned on doing this, because many retirees, one spouse wants to travel and the other doesn't.
Right.
And it causes problems. So we feel very blessed that we're aligned.
Yeah.
Right. Usually in situations like that, I think it's better to not do your kind of fast traveling, but just pick a spot for a month.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a great
the person can get acclimated to make neighbors.
And for us, John runs, and he takes off and runs every morning for an hour, and I'm sure it's to get away from me and run away and pretend he's running away, and maybe, I don't know. No, and I'm kind of a night owl, so I do a lot of my work after he's in bed.
And I'm sleeping.
And so I get a little quiet time there, and he gets a little in the morning.
What do you think is the most challenging thing about traveling at the pace that you're going right now?
You know, I don't think we don't feel like we have any challenges to that, because when we are moving, it feels like it's part of the journey. I mean, it's really fulfilling our dream of traveling. And we're a lot of times we travel in zone or in regions or zones, and we are just moving down the road. So
how are you setting up the travel schedule?
we did actually did that 6 months in advance.
Okay.
Because we have found it is just too challenging. We have a website and YouTube, and trying to do videos and blogs and trip plan at the same time is very hard. So we do the trip planning mostly ahead of time.
Yeah, it takes us about a week to sit down and really kind of iron out all of the details. But
if you get somewhere and you really like it, can you stay there longer and make adjustments, or do you just
not really? We need to move on, because we have flights that are booked. Flights that are booked, that's our big thing. So
they get logged on that we will be back here in a few years. So that's how we'll handle that.
But sometimes we just we may be somewhere for a week, or we may move down the road 2 hours on a train. So it's not like we're leaving the whole country. In this case, tomorrow we're leaving Bergen to head to Oslo. So that's just a train ride. We're still in Norway, but we are moving.
Yeah.
But we love that part of it. And that honestly brings us joy when we're moving. And it's exciting to arrive at a new place.
The thing that surprised me is there's really no place that we haven't enjoyed. We have seen beauty. I mean, every place isn't the same, but we've encountered people that are proud of their country, that people that have been helpful to us. Right. I just can't tell you how many times when we've looked lost or bewildered, someone has come to our aid and helped us out, because it's, I mean,
you must have that nice smile on your face all the time, John. Cause I was in, I was in Germany one time trying to find the Avis car rental place at a train station. Asked this man if he knew where Avis was. He said no. Well, I'm a pretty smart guy. I pulled out my Babblingo app, typed it in German and English, converted it, and showed it to him. And then he told me in perfect English where the Avis car rental place was.
Yeah, it's amazing. People are very proud of their country. They're very kind. They're very helpful. We rarely go anywhere. And here's the crazy thing that happens to us. We meet people sometimes and they'll say, "Oh, come stay at our house when you get here." And we met a couple in
Spain.
This has happened many times where we've met somebody on the road. It happened in Spain last year. We met a couple in Valencia. We took their picture, they took ours. We stood there and chatted, and they said, "Oh, well, when you get to Sweden, come stay with us." So guess what? We're heading to Sweden in a few weeks, and we're going to stay with them.
Oh, wow.
We've stayed with a couple in New Zealand, in Auckland. We've stayed with a couple in Northern California who we met in New Mexico.
Wow.
And those are our best travel days. Those are the best.
So as you saw with Hadley, don't ask me to do something. We're going to do it. So
right.
We've had great travel memories staying with people.
Yeah, and we don't want to pass on something that we might learn or grow or meet a lifelong friend.
Have you been recognized from the YouTube channel?
Oh yeah, it happens to us a lot lately.
Probably, quite a bit more lately.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's kind of crazy, because when we started this, it was honestly not even something that even crossed our minds that somebody might recognize us, or even that we would be a personality that someone would want to know. We just kind of thought, oh, we're going to travel and share travel,
make videos, and we never thought about that.
Never crossed our minds. Honestly, that sounds crazy, but now that people are recognizing us, then we're like, yeah, okay, I get it, but. I'm sure if I saw some of my YouTube vlogs that I love to watch, then I would go, oh, I would have, girl moments.
I have my youngest child is the YouTube watcher. My other two are not, but he knows all the YouTube superstars, Mr. Beast, and there's another YouTube star in Houston area that a buddy of mine lives nearby, and I had to take a picture of the gate. He's like, oh yeah, every time I go here, my kids are like trying to look over the gate. Is he there? Is he there? Oh, my youngest son was like, oh my gosh, they're so lucky. I'm like, I don't know who these people are. But that's cool. So what are some good tips for traveling? Because do you guys feel like you travel on a budget? Like you're the how cheap can we do it kind, or are you the more kind of middle ground there?
We call ourselves bargain travelers. Okay, we're not. We did a video and we talked about kind of budget travelers and high end luxury travelers, and we're neither of those. We don't stay in hostels and we don't do very many tours.
Right.
We like to find bargains and have a wide range of experiences.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Um,
exactly what we think. You know, we are no longer, 18 years old, and we don't really want to stay in a hostel
no,
that's,
Yeah.
but we also ride public transportation. We walk a lot. Sometimes we carry our backpacks 2 miles
Yeah.
if we want. And we hate paying for an expensive taxi. In Italy last year, we were in Portofino and we stopped it was late in the afternoon and
no, it was at night. It was at
it was
night.
night. Yeah, that's right. And we stopped and we thought, well, let's just get a taxi to our hotel, which was up on a hill. And the taxi driver said it's going to be 40 or 50 euros. And we're like, it's 5 minutes from here.
Right.
And so, but by golly, we were not going to pay $50 to ride to the top of the hill. So we just said,
we
"Forget
walked
that."
on this little narrow path in the woods up this hill, but we were determined not to pay that guy 40 euros.
But we love mixing it up. I mean,
Yeah,
there'll be times when we might do a business class long haul flight, but
Yeah.
we don't just buy a ticket in the US. We search for a great bargain. Last year we flew to Auckland, New Zealand, and our thought was let's get a business class ticket. That's a long way.
Yeah.
And from the US it was going to be $10,000-$12,000. There's no way we're going to pay that. So we ended up getting one from Bogota, Colombia, and we paid less than half of what we would have paid in the US. I mean,
Oh, wow.
I think maybe it was $3,000 each to
Yeah.
get there. But we
Mhm.
had to fly to Bogota, which was fine. We wanted to see
We
Bogota.
did a couple day layover there,
And then we flew to Auckland and we had lay down seats, and you just have to be creative. But
Yeah.
that's kind of what we consider ourselves, bargain hunters.
and we're finding that places like Venice and Rome are beautiful, but we were in Venice last summer and it was so crowded and hot. Then we went to the Balkans where it wasn't crowded, and we enjoy the getting on buses and trains and doing it on our own. I mean, it's fun to do the luxury experiences. We were just on the Rocky Mountaineer train in Canada,
Yeah.
which is a true luxury experience, but it almost felt weird and awkward being on it, having people carry our bags and move our stuff and
Right.
all that, because we're just used to doing it ourselves. So it felt awkward actually.
That's on my bucket list is to do that train ride.
It's beautiful.
I can
It
wait
is
for a few
beautiful.
kids to leave the nest before. I thought I would do it when they were older, and they all got their own passions that pretty much take up all our travel budget for sure. So tell me a little more about you keep referencing your YouTube channel. Tell me a little more about your YouTube channel. How often do you guys post, and what are you posting?
We're posting every week. We took a break last year for a few months to just work on a website. Like I said, I wanted to blog when I was starting out, and that was something that we hadn't done. So now we are really working hard on our blog to try to have all the places that we go. We create blogs or guides to those cities so that you could take one of these and say you're in Madrid, you can grab our blog and do everything on the list, and you will have a great travel
Oh, that's
experience.
awesome. Yeah.
So we're trying to add that in along with our YouTube.
That's like TripAdvisor without the all the kickbacks you're getting from all these other companies.
Yeah, and so our YouTube has kind of evolved too. It's not the general niche is retirement travel, obviously,
Right.
but we have a few videos on saving and investing in retirement so that you can live this kind of life. We have some around travel how to destinations, And we also have a few on kind of, a more minimalistic lifestyle and how that impacts you in retirement. So it's,
and also just some vlogs where we travel for the day
and
and you hang
some
out
fun.
with us. So
the real mission of our channel is we want people to get out there and live their best retirement life, whatever that may be. We're traveling, but live your retirement life to the fullest, whatever you choose to do.
Do you ever feel like that the channel gets in the way of your experience, or are you there long enough that you can do both?
No. Sometimes if we get behind on our what we call work, which is kind of not really work, but if we get behind, we can feel a little stressed. But we also won't, if we're behind, we can skip a week, and we've done that. So the priority is on having a great time and experiencing the world and being together, and that's our priority.
It's kind of a balancing act. I think if we only were just doing YouTube and not being able to travel, we wouldn't like that. But if we were just traveling and had no YouTube or blog, it would feel a little empty as well. This challenges our mind and everything, and it's actually a pretty good balance. And if one starts getting too heavy, like traveling too fast, we slow down. If YouTube gets too heavy, we'll skip a week. So those are the kind of things we do to offset.
That's awesome. And then we talked a little bit.
Also, we throw in a few, especially if we're somewhere where the massages are cheap, we get a Thai massage, or we go to the baths in Budapest, and all of those kinds of things.
Fun stuff.
Right. So you have 5 children.
Yes.
So obviously, Bev, you're a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
So you invested your entire career in those children. So you're away from them quite a bit. Does that ever give a sense of loneliness from that standpoint, or do you feel like video connects you? Or
video connects us. So we go home twice a year. We're usually home for 6 to 2 months at a time. We don't always show that because we've got videos going out. So some people are confused that we never see our kids, and that's not the case. Sometimes they come and travel with us, and our siblings come and travel. My mom traveled last year for 3 weeks with us.
Oh, wow.
So we go home, we FaceTime a lot, we text almost daily, especially with our daughters. We have 3 daughters, and they're really good at texting. Yeah. The boys are less, it's less priority for them, but we try to stay connected. Yesterday was first day of kindergarten for one of our granddaughters, and first day of school. So we had pictures going back and forth, and we've talked to them on FaceTime over the weekend.
And all five kids are married. They all have jobs. They have kids, and they have lives that they're developing. And we're a part of it, but we're not necessarily hovering and babysitting all the time and that sort of thing. So we feel like our goal in raising our kids was to raise successful, independent people who were comfortable in their own skin, and we're very thankful for that. And they've all given us their blessing and said, "Go, Mom, Dad, go do it while you can. Enjoy your life." And I think if we didn't have that blessing from them, if they weren't enthusiastic about what we're doing, it would feel different. But that's not what's happened.
Well, thank you for your time on this podcast today. For all of our listeners, you can follow the Retirement Travelers on YouTube. Are you guys on
Facebook? Pinterest, everywhere.
Oh, Pinterest too. Okay. So look for them on we'll put links to all those things in our show notes on our podcast.
Thank you.
And maybe you don't want to travel as much as the Retirement Travelers, but certainly I think the message here is we're not getting younger, and it's time to pack a suitcase and go do something you've always wanted to do, even if it's just in our home country, having covered.
And that's something that we didn't touch on, but for all of the years that you work and you pay money in taxes, the national park system in the United States is unbeatable. And if nothing else, just go to some national parks.
Yeah, it actually turned out to be a blessing to get to see all the national parks before we traveled around the world. So
yeah, it's one of the best. It's the crowning jewel of the United States. So get out there and see those at least.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your time. And we look forward to seeing more videos as you post them.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to a Wiser Retirement podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening. That way you don't miss any new episodes. We'd also appreciate if you could leave a rating and review. If you have any questions about anything that was discussed today, head to wiserinvestor.com and reach out. This episode was produced and edited by Ken Hoadley. This podcast is strictly for informational purposes only and is not to be considered as investment advice or a solicitation to buy or sell any financial products, securities, digital assets, or any other investment vehicles, or a basis to make any financial decisions. Wiser Wealth Management Incorporated is a registered investment advisor with the SEC. The host and/or guest may personally own securities, digital assets, or other investment vehicles mentioned on this podcast. Neither the host nor guest of the show are compensated for their participation, and no referral fees are paid to or received by any host or guest for clients, listeners, or similar interests. Investments involve risk, and unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Be sure to first consult with a qualified financial advisor, tax professional, insurance professional, and/or legal professional before implementing any strategy discussed herein. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.